Yep.
Oh, hello. Yeah, so you are now ready. You are now ready to do introductions. Introduce yourself, introduce the run, give me a countdown for the timer,
Yep.
and then let me know when to start.
It is me, Super Viper T302. I'm bringing with you the hottest speed game ever, Pack and Roll Remix, originally part of the Namco Museum Remix and Namco Museum Megamix compilations for the Wii, update to the DS game Pack and Roll. I have not ran this game in several months, so this run is probably not going to be that good, but we will see how it goes. So let's just get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so the best way that I can describe this game is Pac-Man is a limbless ball, and you make him go very fast. That's kind of the nature of this run. Basically, the goal for every level is to just get to the end of the level, and for most levels that'll involve passing through these Golva skates, which require eating pack dots. So a lot of the levels just kind of come down to routing, and you have a boost, which is done by simply shaking the Wii remote. You can also brake using the Z button, which I'll be using a lot to help stop Pac-Man's momentum on a dime. The skill ceiling for this game is absolutely insanely high. If you watch the tasks of this game by Elo Mabi, which you should do immediately after this run, then you can see just how crazy it is. Like, what I'm doing is not even close to the amount of potential that this game has, but I am not that good, so I am human after all. In fact, I've actually optimized... This game has basically been kind of like a solo effort with occasional contributions from other people from over the years. So I've really been trying to push this game a lot since I started running it about 11 years ago at this point. So for the most part, the first world doesn't really have anything too crazy going on. That being said, it is very common to get stuck resetting here. That's not good. Oh, never mind. I had enough pack dots. Okay. There's so many tiny ways to lose time. And with the level of optimization this game is at, every second matters. So whenever I do attempts of this game, I usually get stuck resetting in World 1 often. So this is Night Pack. He's very heavy and can also break the metal boxes. He also moves a lot slower, so he's harder to control. And you may be wondering why I have the entire game already completed. It doesn't really matter. Nothing changes in the levels, whether you've beaten them already or not. But it saves me from having to wipe my game's memory every single time I want to do runs, because Namco Museum Megamix actually autosaves by default. So I'm skipping that Winged Pack Chocolate, and yes, that is chocolate. The Namco Museum Remix instruction manual confirms it. Just because normal Pack moves slightly faster on the ground, and I need that in order to make a platform cycle here. So just to give an idea of how optimized this game is, that was actually a really, really good World 1 253, but I'm still like 3.5 seconds behind record. So, yeah. So here's a Gyro Jungle 1. We get the first big skip in the run. There's a Golva skate up here that is completely optional. I can do a ledge grab hop here and just get to the goal platform without having to open the gate. There are a few gates you can skip in this game. Most of them you can't because they have really big hitboxes, and or the level geometry just doesn't really allow for it. There are some gate skips that are possible, but very, very difficult. Okay, this is new territory for me. I don't normally make that mistake. For example, in this level, the gate is actually skippable as well, but it's tasks only. Which is kind of unfortunate. It probably wouldn't even save that much time if it were RTA viable. And this level 2-3 is the bane of my existence, because the goal platform is actually right behind where you start, but you cannot slope boost to it from those ramps. You cannot get to the goal platform early. If it were possible, it would save over a minute. In the Pac-Man Museum Plus re-release of this game, they altered the movement physics, and it actually is possible to do the skip on that version. And even in the DS version, which uses an entirely different game engine, it is possible to do that skip. But it's just barely not possible in this version, and it has haunted me ever since I've been running this game. So I do have to play through the level in its entirety, which is sad, but that's what I get for making this the primary version I run on. Yeah, Pac-Man Museum Plus, the Pac-Man Museum Plus version of this game, basically, you move slightly faster in the air, and you can use, like, diagonal vectoring to gain even more distance, kind of like what you can do in, like, Super Mario Odyssey. And so that makes certain skips either easier or just straight up possible. But this version does not have that. Although, the Museum Plus port does lose a little bit of time to loads and menuing, so it's not all good. And I'd say optimal movement is a little bit harder. Alright, so the Pack-and-Roll Remix doesn't have a story mode like the DS game does, so there's no background on this guy. His name is Galvis. He's kind of just the main villain of the DS Pack-and-Roll. And in the DS game, he's like the dumbest villain known to man. These fights kind of all play out the same way. You have to eat 3 power pellets to make Galvis invincible, or you have to make him eatable by eating 3 power pellets and then rinse and repeat twice. The power pellets always appear in the same spots, so you can pretty easily route them all out. Here a little bit. Very hard to optimize this fight because you have to kind of strike a balance between waiting and eating the power pellets at optimal times. It's kind of annoying. So here's a Sweet Land 3-1. This is one of the most reset heavy levels in the run for me. For a lot of reasons. First of all, the Pac-Daw route here is insanely tight. I can't really afford to miss any without going out of my way and losing several seconds. There's also a lot of cycles here. So I have to play pretty well in this first section in order to make a cycle in the second section. It's a little lenient, but you still have to be, like, really, really fast. And the task can make it like 2 cycles ahead, but unfortunately, I don't even think we can skip 1 cycle. And then the second part is really hard because I have to navigate. I'm going to try to skip this car by ledge grab hopping between these platforms. It's very easy to fall off when attempting this, and usually if you fall off, your run is just dead. So you have to reset. And then here I can use slow boosting to get to these last few. Maybe. That was not that good, but it's gonna be worse. As you saw there, I ended with exactly enough pack dots needed to finish the level. There's nothing really particularly noteworthy about this level, it's just hard. There's a lot of moving elements to it, very weird geometry, ghosts in inconvenient spots, and optimally moving through here is just a pain, because you just bounce off everything. Controlling Pac-Man in this game is very difficult to get the hang of. There's definitely a learning curve to it. Granted, controlling Pac-Man in the DS game was difficult as well, because that game entirely uses the touchscreen for the most part. So because Blinky's on a cycle here, I have to eat Blinky here in order to get that Night Pack card, so that I can break that final metal box. Oh, I did not want to re-enter that level. That's actually kind of sad, because normally this is like the one split where you're pretty much guaranteed to never lose time on it. Because this level is basically all about cycles, and with the route I'm doing, the cycles are very generous. It is possible to actually complete this level cycle faster than this, even RTA, but no. It is... I can't not recommend that strat enough. I just realized I used a triple negative there, my apologies. Commentating is hard, okay? But yeah, basically, it's bad, but this route is actually very lenient and generous. And it's only like a 5.5 second difference, so not that bad. So you might be wondering, like, why don't you just jump around the gates in this level? Well, again, they have big hitboxes, and also in this level, there's actually wind that's positioned around the gates that prevents you from jumping around them. So the developers very clearly thought of that and tried to make these levels not cheesable, but there's still a few of them that are. Alright, I made the optimal cycle here again. It's very, very generous. So provided, you should pretty much get the same IL time on here every single time. Alright. So for 3-4, I need to be a bit stingy with how I collect pack dots, and I've already missed one. Because the fewer pack dots I miss, the more time I can save at the very end. Because there's a roller coaster you have to ride that's basically an auto-scroller, and you have to ride it until you get enough pack dots to open the final gate. But you can die once you reach the number of pack dots you need, and then skip the rest of the car ride. And obviously, the fewer pack dots I miss, the earlier I can die on, and so the more of the auto-scroller I can skip. And I just missed 3 right there, so that's sad. And here's like the only bit of... This is like one of 2 only places in the run where there's downtime. As you can see, this run's kind of non-stop action-packed, and you don't even really get breaks between levels. But I kind of like that about this game. Like, it may not look all that interesting as a speed game, but there's a lot more depth to it than you realize, and it's just really, really fun. And I think it's pretty easy to get into as well. Alright, there we go. So that probably lost me like 3 seconds from not being able to die earlier. But not the end of the world. Okay. So this boss fight is pretty scary. It's very easy to fall off and die because of how thin all the platforms are. And even beyond that, it's easy to just get rammed into walls and bounce off of everything and lose several seconds. There's also a little bit of randomness to Galvus's attack pattern, at least from what I can tell. Get over here. So I'm already like... I'm probably like 30 seconds behind Record, so yeah, Record's already dead, but who cares? Anyway, Flaming Fortress is the hardest part of any percent. It's... Every single level in here is really hard. So I'm actually gonna go for a skip here that I don't normally attempt in runs, but because this is the marathon, I might as well. There's not a whole lot of risk in attempting it. Actually, I'm not even sure if I will at this point. I've already made a bunch of mistakes, and I don't want to lose even more time. The chances of me hitting this are extremely slim, but I'll give it a shot. Of course. It's only during marathon runs that I'm able to hit that. That is insanely hard. But that actually allows me to skip 2 gates. And that basically makes up for all the time I lost earlier in the stage, and then some. I have never hit that skip in a world record run. I don't normally go for it, even though it saves like 10 to 15 seconds if you get it, because it's very hard. And requires a frame-perfect motion-controlled input with decent timing on that rotating platform cycles. 4-2 is a pretty linear stage. Not too much to say about it. There's a lot of using invincibility frames to go through obstacles. It is possible to skip the last 2 gates in this level. And actually this one here can be skipped in real time. But the last one is task only, and because skipping a Galvus gate prevents any future Galvus gates from being unlockable, you have to skip both of them in order for it to be viable, and it's just not, so... And I just re-entered the level again, so that's fun. And once again, it's before a cycle-based level where I should basically get the same time every single time, so that's kind of embarrassing. But that's what happens when I haven't played this game in months. It's okay, I'm having fun. So it might have looked like I just barely missed that cycle, but I don't believe you can make that cycle in RTA. The task obviously makes it by, like, the task easily makes it. Skipping that checkpoint might seem risky, but it's actually not, because there's a checkpoint right here, and that section is really easy. Yeah, movement mistakes are also pretty difficult to recover. Especially things like missing pack dots like that. So, 4-4, you might think this is the type of low level where you can just fall from higher places to lower places and skip huge chunks of it. But this game's death planes are really annoying, and so it's very hard to utilize that. There's only really one viable location to do it, and in Pac-Man Museum Plus there's actually two, but the other method isn't viable here. Okay, so this is the only skip we've managed to find here. And I can't believe I got that first try. I basically just YOLO'd it. That only saves like 7 to 9 seconds depending on how fast you do it. And then this last section is really fun because that last checkpoint I hit is actually the last checkpoint of the level. And because the checkpoints are so spread out, if you die anywhere in this level, your run's pretty much over. That went really well. 4-5 is another difficult level, because you saw that bounce boosting trick I used in 4-1 for the skip. You can also do it on lava. Basically, you have to boost on the frame you make contact with either a jump pad or lava, and you can get a boost out of it. Not easy to do, especially because this game is in 60 FPS and it's a motion control based input. That first section may look slow, but I dare you to try to find a faster way to get through there. So, this level's kind of annoying in runs, because there's a lot of this frame-perfect nonsense, and there's a cycle at the very end as well. And also, health management is a bit of an issue here. I'm actually starting with extra health than what you would normally start with in a fresh playthrough. That's just kind of allowed under the new Game Plus rules. Okay, I think this is a cycle behind the optimal cycle. Which is about 6 seconds lost, but for a marathon, it's not that big of a deal. And as you can see here, wow, that was actually quite good. This run is going a lot better than I thought it would, considering I had basically no time to practice. Of course, all of that can change in World 5. This boss fight is also really annoying because you have to contend with this platform, and there's a little bit of RNG in the way the platform rotates. Okay, that saves a little bit of time. And it can also save a bit of time on the third phase as well, but the third phase is honestly just pretty... It doesn't really come down to luck, but it almost never seems to go well. That was insane. That was like only a second off gold. Alright. So, this is Galvus's hideout. This world is actually exclusive to the remix version of the game. This isn't in the original DS game. Every single level in here is broken. In fact, in the tasks and on Pac-Man Museum Plus, this is actually the fastest level in the game. But that strat isn't humanly viable. So, I have to do a slightly slower strat here. So I have to go through this first gate and grab a light pack card, or a wing pack card. And then I gotta go back here. And they intentionally increase the effects of gravity on you in this section to prevent this skip from being possible, but it still is. And that saves like almost a minute. It skips the last 2 gates of the level. And remember how I said falling isn't normally a strategy you can use to skip stuff in this game? And these levels it is. I really wanted to hit that checkpoint. Okay, hopefully I get this. And that's bad. I probably should have backtracked for that checkpoint, but... the gate here is also skippable, by the way, and there's like 5 different ways to do it. It's kind of awesome. There we go. That's probably the first actual big mistake I've made this entire run. It was insane. And here's the hardest level in the game. Anyways, that level is kind of just like an auto-scroller, honestly. It isn't, but it is. Alright, so this level has a gate skip that saves like 10 seconds, but I am not going to go for it because it's not marathon safe. It's very precise, and you lose a lot of time to it if you fail it, and there's no real good backup for it, so I'm just gonna... The current world record doesn't have it because I was on such good pace that I didn't need to go for it. But at this point, if you wanted to get record, you basically would have to do it. But there's still another pretty big skip in this level at the very end. It's kind of cool. That hammer can just knock you into oblivion if you don't wait for it. So there's the big skip. That just saves like 30-ish seconds. And then this is the final boss fight. There's actually 2 phases to this fight. Okay. If you eat 2 power pellets on the same frame, it only counts as 1 hit, so I'm very glad I was able to avoid that. Very easy to get knocked off by Galvus in this fight. And also just fall off in general. Right here, Galvus can just randomly decide to knock me off, and there's hardly anything I can do about it if it does happen. Okay. Also, with the amount of boosting and camera turning you have to do, it's easy to just accidentally boost in the wrong direction and fly off. And then in the final phase, I'm going to be doing a little strat that was found by the game's taster, Ilomabi. Basically, there's these power pellet-wielding ghosts that spawn throughout this portion of the fight. I'm going to intentionally let 3 of them live for the 3rd phase of the fight, because you can actually eat them and do damage to Galvus as he's spawning in. And if you eat all 3 of them, then you can cancel the animation of him spawning in and eat him a little bit early. Alright, get ready on time. It's gonna be really, really quick. 1, 2, 3, and time. 22:47. Wow. Okay, clearly I've still got it with this game. Wow. That went a lot better than I thought it would. Again, I was very rusty, and I basically did not prepare at all. So, that went well. So, I hope you enjoyed that run. Again, I kind of had to do it last minute, but at least it gave me an excuse to play this game again. I always enjoy playing it, and if you want to learn this game, I will personally teach you everything there is to learn about it on the one condition that you finish a run. So... yeah, thanks for letting me show these games off, and yeah, I will throw it on over to the host at this point. Have fun with the rest of the marathon.
No problem. Thank you very much for both runs. I know that they kind of done as backups because the Rhythm Heaven Fever run had to be cancelled. Hopefully we can see that at another event in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we are holding you to the incentive to do it blindfolded as well, by the way, if you ever submit it again. So
yeah,
don't forget to do it blindfolded.
I enjoy doing it blindfolded, so that won't be a problem.
Yeah, we'll make sure that you do it blindfolded to meet the incentive that was met today. So we will now be going over to our next run. So the next 2 runs are back to back by King Xavier. We've got the Elephant Collection. This is the only level trifecta. And we've got World of Warcraft Exiles Reach Starting Zone. Those will be the next 2 runs to take place. We're going to start off with the Elephant Collection first, which is the shorter run of the 2, actually. But we'll put the intermission screen on, we'll do sound checks and tech checks and all that stuff to start with. And that run will be starting probably in about 10 minutes time or so, I think. Yeah, so based on scheduled time, it'll be in about 10 minutes time. But before we go to the intermission screen, don't forget we are doing this as a charity event for everyone can. If you'd like to donate, then please do so by typing !donate in the chat on Twitch. Or if you go to the link, the first link in the description, there is that in the description on YouTube. And that'll take you to the donation page for the InstaSpeedathon donation tracker, and donations will go to everyone can. Subject to terms and conditions on the donation page. We do retain a 10% cut of donations just to cover running costs of the InstaSpeedathon event, but the total you see on screen is the eventual total we will be donating to everyone can at the end of the event once everything's been processed on our end. And that total currently stands at £89, which is an absolutely fantastic total, but we want to have some more money to donate to them as well. If we can get it into triple digits by the end of the event, then that'll be absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we do have tomorrow as well, so there's no massive rush into getting that, but it would be nice if we could have a nice triple digit donation that we can send to everyone can after the event as well. But in any case, thank you, Viper, for the run. Have you got any final things you'd like to say before we finish off and go on to the
please run this game. Please run this game. That's all I have.
Alright, please run this game. You've heard it here first, folks. Make sure to run this game, and the next person who submits this game at InstaSpeedathon will have a slot in the schedule. So there's your enticement to run this game, is you'll get a slot in the InstaSpeedathon schedule if you submit it next time. But in any case, thank you very much, Viper, and we'll see you again next time, please.
Goodbye.